Your mama's so ugly she threw a boomerang and it never came back.
Your mama's so ugly the plastic surgeon sued her.
Your mama's so ugly they renamed Halloween Yo Mama Ween.
Your mama's so ugly she made a mime scream.
Ni mama hao shou yang chong ya ke lei.
Energy, focus, control. Amp energy, amp yourself.
Grand Theft Auto 4, got everybody in line, midnight.
Yep.
Game's getting released. People
Well, it's not midnight yet. We still got a little while to go.
It will be midnight.
And lucky us, we've got our intern Jay Fresh to stand in line for us. But we're gonna still go up ahead and try to ask other people if they'll let us cut in line.
On the streets of San Francisco.
Yep.
What's the first thing you guys are gonna do once you get in the game world? You got a car. What are you gonna do?
Drive around and look for a helicopter and just fly over the city.
Okay, that's
Helicopter first. That's a good one, actually.
13. Are you sure you're here for Grand Theft Auto?
Probably pick up a hooker.
Probably try to kill as many people as I can. I try to steal as many cars as I can, and hopefully that'll serve me as training in real life.
So do you have
In keeping with real life, I'm gonna get hammered.
You can actually get hammered in this one? I didn't know that.
Yeah, and you can even drive drunk if you want to.
All right,
Not that I
perfect.
endorse it, kids.
Steal a car and then pick up a prostitute.
Multiplayer.
Maybe multiplayer. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Probably get in a fight, test out the combat, just beat some random dude up.
Go on a killing spree.
You're gonna go for the 5 stars right off the bat. I fully respect that.
Now the star count goes up to 6.
Oh shit! It's when they send Battlestar Galactica after you.
Really, I'm just gonna go shove a guy and have him drop his cup. Do that to a bunch of people. And ruin the coffee supply in Liberty City.
Fair enough.
I think I'm probably just gonna immerse myself into the story, just seems like the best part of it. It's always been there, and multiplayer's a new thing. It's cool, but I don't know, I always like the story.
I'm gonna fly a helicopter and then when I get the helicopter and go to the highest building and jump off.
Usually in Grand Theft Auto, I start off and I try and do a mission, but then I accidentally hit someone, and then I just say, fuck it, and I just start hitting more and more people until eventually I get arrested.
I'm gonna get a job.
Job.
So I can afford to do all that stuff later.
Oh, I see. Nice. Wow. That's actually the first.
Wait.
That's really well thought
You're here
out.
for Grand Theft Auto 4. That's way too well thought out for this line.
Oh, this is Grand Theft Auto? I gotta go.
Well, I gotta say, if this is my initial impression, and I am a fan of the series, but I have to say, if I didn't read all of the hype, not just from this site, but from everywhere, and I was just playing this blind, my impression might have just been, okay, they did some interesting things here, but I don't think I would have seen it as the quantum leap that I'm now reading about in the hype. So I was playing it and I was having a good time, but part of me was thinking it's just this?
The stuff
Well, this is kind of the same game.
The stuff you were reading, what were they saying was a quantum leap? Because Greg and I reviewed it, and I don't know if Greg didn't seem to think it was like a quantum leap.
We never brought quantum leap into
quantum
this
mechanics
discussion.
did not exist.
Neither quantum nor leap does not appear here.
You guys did that. Right.
But I want to know what other people are saying or the reasoning behind that.
There's at least 2 mainstream reviews I read that I won't mention the sources, but that were like, this is the great next evolution in video game history.
Yeah.
This is the movie that everybody's been waiting to happen. And I didn't feel that at all. I do think that this character, for whatever reason, is like I'm feeling more pathos for this guy. So that's really interesting to me, and there's a little more emotional investment, but it's still feeling like a video game to me. It's not feeling like The Godfather.
Okay, things aren't easy for us here, but together we are doing all right. America is an opportunity for a new beginning. You're in need of one.
There's no such thing as a new beginning, Roman. With every day we live, we pick up new baggage.
I think that because GTA is already so momentous in the grand scheme of gaming.
Yeah.
San Andreas still stands as this incredible huge expansive thing that no one has really matched.
Yeah, and I think the key word was evolution that you said, where the story is better, the characters are better, the controls are better, the graphics are markedly better. So you have that stuff where it is a much better game, but
if you've been playing it all along, I totally see your point. That said, I want to hear someone who's kind of come in pretty new to this, and like, what are your impressions?
I played 3 and I thought it was smart, but I just couldn't get over the like kind of lack of polish.
And you played what, like 8 hours straight yesterday or something, and like you came in today just so excited, you're like, we got to talk about this.
And not only that, I played San Andreas all last week to like reacclimate myself to what I thought was Rockstar's best effort, or best previous effort, right? So going into GTA 4, it was the world simulation that was just amazing to me. Driving around, running my car like very slowly into a person and watching like how they tapped the hood and told me to fuck off and, you know, pushed away from my car, and the fact that I could hail a taxi cab, get in the cab, sit as a passenger in the cab and just like look out the window, and the fact that the world itself, there was enough going on, you know,
that you
people
want to
talking,
look out the
that
window.
I would want to look out the window and take a taxi ride. I did that maybe 3 times yesterday.
Could you please change the radio station for me?
Dinner or at a party with a really hot chick. It's a fucking invasion, you bastard!
Hey, you put on the beat.
You guys that have played the game all the way through, did you start using the public transportation more after a while, or is it just kind of there and kind of an afterthought thing?
I only used the train once or twice for like required missions, and as I was playing the game, I just took cabs everywhere.
Yeah.
Because that was the quickest way to get
Would you have used it? Would you have used it more if, you know, let's say you could walk onto the subway, you know, and you could be in the subway looking out the window, or you could walk up and down between cars as you were going. If it was more of a simulation, just like like the cab ride.
Maybe at first.
Maybe at
like
first.
the same way that you take the cab rides just to like experience it.
Yeah.
But when you want to get to point B for a mission, I just hailed the cab and skipped right away to it.
I wish I'd do it just because I love driving in that game. I love driving. I never got sick of doing it.
Yeah.
So I had no problem if like my objective was like across town. I was like, no problem.
I think maybe if there was like a rush hour when it was hard to like be in the streets, then it would be more reliant on like, hey, actually I gotta take the train something quicker or something like that. So
if I had to wait 30 seconds or less for a train every time and then could, you know, hit my transfer and all this stuff, I don't know, I could get into that because of how tight the simulation is in other parts of the game. It would just mean they need to put some missions down there, have some reason for you to be taking the trains. The world simulation felt so real to me that my initial reaction was that I should be a good person. Like I tried to drive in traffic properly. I didn't want to run into people. When I got into the world, I was like, I don't want to be you know, a killer here. I want to interact with these people, with this environment in a different way.
Yo, what up? How's it hanging? I thought that street team hustle was the move, but LCPD tear down my snipes, my posters, and they find me.
How long did it take you to get used to the driving?
It was instant because the first person worked. Like in the other GTA games, I feel like first person perspective is an afterthought. But now, because of the way you can see the hood, the screen shake is perfect, and the fact that the physics are just better in the cars, switching to first person made driving like honestly great.
Because that was one of the things that bothered me. I like driving in the nicer cars, like the higher power cars, no problem at all.
Yeah.
But most of the cars are crap. The braking distance is kind of exaggerated, and the turning radius is limited. So kind of, I don't know if it's intentional or not, but it kind of encourages chaotic driving.
See, I thought the exact opposite. You know, I crossed a bridge early on, and the bridges are like the first bridge you can cross is 2 lanes, and it's got a traffic jam on it, or at least it did when I first got there. So like, I had to drive in traffic. Sure, I could have cut between the guys and smashed into a few things, and I've gotten better, and now I can weave through traffic, but you know, it taught me to, I don't know, I guess respect the traffic rules in the world.
Why are there toll booths?
Yeah,
because
it's awesome.
But see, initially I thought maybe they did that to mask loading when you're going onto the other islands or whatever. So I was like, well, screw this. I want to see if a load screen pops up. So I just barrel through it and it runs fine. There's no loading whatsoever. I just have a star and I haven't had to run for the police. So I'm not really sure why it's there, other than I guess
there's toll bridges in New York.
Yeah.
It's part of the simulation. Like if you go through it, it's just a 1-star and you can quickly get by it. It's just like one of those little touches.
I thought it was just one way, so I didn't think I had to pay coming back. And then when I rushed through and they came after me, I felt shitty. I was like, oh, I would have paid. I'll pay now. It really made me feel bad.
I guess mostly I'm just annoyed I can't sign up for Easy Pass and just drive straight through.
I know what you're saying about following the rules. Even like on a date, I like want to drive slowly just to like kind of make it more immersive for me and to like give time for more dialogue to show up and more like things to happen on the way.
This game is far too important for you, Nick.
Yeah. I was driving slow too. And she actually made a comment about me driving too slow, which I thought was cool.
Comments on your choice of clothing, especially if you wear the same thing twice. Like, didn't you wear that last time? It's like, screw you. We went on a date 3 hours ago. Of course we're wearing the same thing.
You like the new car, Nico? You're wearing my favorite outfit. How's Mallory? We haven't spoken in a while.
Good, I think.
Good. She's a great girl.
I was like going to meet Michelle, like first girlfriend you had for like a second or third date, and on the way there, like Roman calls me and he's like, "Oh, I got trouble, blah blah blah," and I'm like, "Fuck, I gotta go help him." So I call her and I'm like, "What's gonna happen?" But when he picks up, then Nico's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, we're gonna have to do this another time." Like he knew what I wanted to tell her, which was really cool.
I mean, at least you called. When I called her, she was like, "What happened?" And I was like,
"Oh, well, yes, that's the thing."
And he got in trouble, and she's like, "We're not like criminal trouble, right? You're not criminal, are you?" And I'm like, "No."
I skipped the date and then got a text message from her saying, "Where the hell are you?" And I thought that was cool too. That was very real life.
Nico, how are you finding things? Have you got enough to do here in Liberty City?
Yeah, I think I've got enough on my plate at the moment, Roman.
Well, if you need some downtime, go hang out at the apartment and watch some American TV. It is much better than the shit we got back in the old country.
Most of the shit on TV in the old country was from America.
And I think the cell phone added a lot. I'm not sure. I can't figure out why, but
it frees you from the bond of like always going to the mission places. You'll get more. You still have the mission like sources throughout the city, but the cell phone like gives the missions to you as you're going along, so you can just kind of divert your course.
There was another thing I really appreciated last night. I thought that I've never seen this in any other game ever, and I really liked it. Which is when you repeat a mission and you're with somebody at the time in the car, the dialogue changes.
Yeah.
So you got a whole different sort of, story going on.
Yeah.
Which was so, I appreciated that so much that, okay, I have to do this thing again, which I really don't want to do. I'll do it. But at least they made it entertaining and they sort of rewarded you in a way.
And if you have to do it again after that, sometimes the characters will just say, "Let's just listen to the radio this time," and they won't say anything.
Oh, really?
So it's,
right.
yeah.
Whoa.
Education, I cannot do. Fighting, I can do. I'm sober. I had a lot to drink, but I'm straight sober.
Sure.
I am. Listen, man.
I mean, I got drunk last night with Roman. They came out of the bar absolutely fucking sloshed to the point where they were like falling over on the ground. I couldn't if I walked too fast, I would just trip.
It's impressive. Like there's varying levels of drunk.
Yeah,
within that little system.
Mr. Man!
I was falling down in the middle of the road. Cars were like stopping in front of me and honking their horn. Then Roman he starts to fall down in the street. A car nearly hits him. He reacts to it, puts his hands on the hood of the car to stop himself from getting knocked over. The person yells, "Hey, fuck you, get out of here!" And he's like, whatever, and then sloshes backwards. I've never seen that in a game before, and there's something that's new here, and it's if you look at the game with this kind of macro lens, say, it has the missions like GTA does, it has the girlfriend, it's missing the RPG elements, the story's good. It's easy to qualify the game that way, but to me it's the detail level on everything that takes it above and beyond what anyone else has done.
And the details there, and definitely the animations and stuff when you're drunk, it's really cool. But one of the things that actually took me out of that experience is that when you walk up to the car and you hit the triangle button, your character magically is no longer drunk and just walk straight over to the car.
Oh, that's right. Stop.
Where you going, man?
I want to go to Joliet Street.
As soon as I finish, I'm going home to blow some heads and beat up the coochie.
Those little details that don't quite work right are so
They're
stark.
magnified,
Yeah, they're magnified because the rest of the world is so detailed and so complete. And these little problems that the game have, the fact that I noticed them, I think is almost a compliment to the world.
Yeah.
And the one that I noticed the most was if you take a motorbike and you park it in your parking spot so that it then becomes your motorbike, then the next time you get on, he grabs a helmet from out of the ether and puts it on his head. And then when you get off the bike again,
he starts to walk away, then he takes off the helmet and just throws it on the ground, and it kind of halfway clips through the
like
sidewalk
disappears,
and disappears, and then like the next time you get on the bike, he puts on a completely different helmet, and it's something like that. It's like, really, you couldn't just make him hang the helmet on the bike? And it's like, that's not the kind of thing where it's like, oh, you shouldn't play GTA because, you know, he tosses his helmet on the ground. It's the kind of thing that the rest of the world feels so authentic, and I want to be in it so bad that kind of stuff instantly takes me out of it. As an art form, we're still trying to reach for that ultimate, completely believable, infallible world simulator.
It's the uncanny valley. I mean, as things get more realistic, the things that don't hold up just are magnified. You just notice them far more.
Yeah, it drives me nuts that I can't like go into any door that I want.
Yeah.
You know, or at least like put my hand out and try the knob, and you're like, oh, it's locked.
Yeah, because when you're in your neighborhood at home, you just walk out the random doors and just go right in.
There's like a giant arcade.
Oh,
and you can't go in it. I know. And like,
How great would that have been?
Yeah, and they have like arcade games in there already, like one or two of them.
Yeah.
No, like the puzzle game. Like, why can't you make like 5 more of those and open up the arcade?
Every time a new version of the world simulator comes out, a new better version, a new more revolutionary version, like it's always great until you find the limits. I can pull out my wallet in the game, but I can't. I'm really angry that I can't thumb through the bills independently and choose the ones that I want and lay them on the counter. You know, like, is that what? Like how far does how far does it really need to go? I would play Liberty City Vacation the game. If Rockstar wanted to make the non-violent version of the game, I would totally buy it. Where all I did was like ride subways, stop at locate. I could go to the museum. You know, I could go to a museum. The textures are high res enough now where that would work. Fucking build it for me and I'll play it.
Have you played Second Life?
The textures in that game suck.
This does make you feel like, man, I really want somebody to just make like a whole fucking giant simulation of Rome and just let me walk around Rome in the GTA engine.
I would totally play that. Yeah.
You just want to be in this city and you want to experience it. So in that sense, I do feel like it almost is an evolution, but it's also almost a revolution because nobody has done like the complete world that felt so right.
It's linking all of like the cell phone stuff and like the normal GTA stuff with this like the internet and the TV and the radio, and all this stuff is consistent and cross-referencing through the entire game. So that really helps the underlying world.
Your mama's so ugly she threw a boomerang and it never came back.
Your mama's so ugly the plastic surgeon sued her.
Your mama's so ugly they renamed Halloween Yo Mama Ween.
Your mama's so ugly she made a mime scream.
Ni mama hao shou yang chong ya ke lei.
Energy, focus, control. Amp energy, amp yourself.
What's the worst thing you've ever done in real life?
Probably the classic, you know, go out for a prostitute, pay her the money, and then kill her after taking money back. That sort of thing.
He's done that in real life. Whoa, shit. We're gonna have to go and ask these guys some questions.
Petty theft.
Petty theft? What'd you steal?
Petty theft, I stole a political poster, and then I had a high-speed chase, and I got caught.
I just realized I took food from strangers on the street and I'm now eating it. In hindsight, that doesn't seem like a great idea.
Yeah, I know. I would never do that. That's just really dumb.
I got suspended from high school for having sex in the pool.
And how is that the worst thing you've ever done in real life? That's like the best thing you've ever done in real life.
I shot a rat in the head with an M16.
Klepto somewhat, and I've thought it out in my head, and it's at least probably around $10,000 worth of stuff, retail value. So that's not the real value. That's a whole lot of shit.
Right, yeah, that is a whole lot of shit.
Yeah.
How much of that was video games?
Actually, pretty much like 3/4 of it.
And yet you're in the line to buy Grand Theft Auto. Do you see the irony?
Yeah.
Sometimes something will come on the radio, like a joke ad or something like that, and it's just completely unbelievable. Like it's so over the top. It's so like silly.
The previous games haven't been as serious. They've been the parodies and like the big like expansive adventure stuff.
Right.
So because this one is more realistic, that disconnect is there, and they still need like the traditional GTA like sophomoric satire humor. Some of it's really smart, but some of it is just like really dumb. Like the sex jokes in this game, I think, are the worst they've ever been.
You know, we're a round table full of guys.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about a woman a grown woman, female gamer, loading this game for the first time, do you think they're going to have the same reaction?
At the beginning of the game, they'll have probably be turned off by it because it's the sophomore sex jokes.
I'm 10, 11 hours into the game, and I've seen no compelling female characters at all. They're all like, they're hypersexualized, or they're parodies of, a woman-style character in the way that the other men are parody characters as well.
About halfway through, they'll introduce someone.
that?
Or they're hookers.
Or they're hookers, right?
Or strippers.
Right. So that's good to
They
hear.
will, yeah.
I mean, but I'm still going to remain skeptical because I'm just not convinced that Rockstar has a feminist bone in their body.
It shouldn't take that long either way. It shouldn't take half of the game to get to that.
Michelle and what's Roman's girlfriend's name? She seems kind of normal. Mallory seems kind of normal. Both of them seem kind of normal, but definitely
not anywhere
written
close
by
to
a
the
man.
male characters.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And that's something that's still.
But those
again,
are still
it is like-
those will be secondary characters, and the primary character you are introduced to.
'Cause
Maybe
Roman-
it does take longer than it should, but she is actually like.
It just like
Roman's
everything
such a
else is.
serious- This is a world of freaks and weirdos. I mean, between Bruce, there are normal people in it. Nico being the kind of voice of clarity or whatever, but like Brucey and stuff like
But
that.
that's just it.
it's
Is
so
you can
bizarre.
be a freak and you can be a weirdo, and you can still be compelling, sympathetic, and not hypersexualized. And I haven't seen that yet.
It sucks that women are portrayed that way. I agree with it, but I think for Rockstar, I don't think it'd be a huge concern for them because that's just not the
It's
market.
like
they're
because you
going
could
for.
sit down and on gamer right now and be like, hey, look how cool gaming is, like look how immersive it can be, and how like realistic and well designed it can in so many aspects. But it's like you'd have to be like, we'll kind of ignore that. That's they're not quite there with like female characters. yet.
Again, the like mainstream media, like this is the next Godfather or whatever. Well, it's not, because you can't take your wife to sit down and watch GTA, and if she's relatively intelligent and has some feminist perspective, is going to think that this is cool. She's going to be offended. I mean, I had my wife sit down and watch the opening with me because she got interested because of all the hype. Like, wow, is this really the next thing? And she got turned off by the just that little opening graphic, the pre-credit thing where they just have that long shot of the girl with the lollipop that goes on for forever. And so within like 40 seconds, I was like, ugh, Rockstar, did you have to? Like they don't, but they do.
Right.
Oh, you look lonely, baby. Can I dance for you?
The only time I really got turned off to the game at all was in the strip club, because first of all, did we really need the strip club in there, really? And then if there's a strip club, did they really have to have lap dance animations? And then, if there were lap dance animations, did my controller really have to actually vibrate?
Yes, to all
And
three,
it was
Jeff.
the vibrate that made me go like,
Your wife was watching, wasn't she?
Yeah.
That's
why you're down in the strip club.
Yeah, Jeff, it's not like you got up. It's not like you got up and left. You stayed there and did it.
and Jeff,
I bought a second dance.
Did you buy two?
But I didn't enjoy it.
No.
You buy the third one.
Buy
It's
the
a
third one.
little
There's a
Easter egg for you.
Is there?
Yeah.
See, that's what I wondered. I wondered if actually there'd be a reward.
What's that other gang called? Death Angels or some shit? Anyways, be careful of this cat. Don't want to even look at him the wrong way. Crazy motherfucker.
You scared of him?
Yeah, I ain't scared of nobody. All them bikers is racist as shit is all.
As far as the main story goes, I mean, they did a good job of like kind of classing it up a bit, as it were. And it's not quite The Wire yet, which is, I guess, if I had to choose.
Although I found some definitely parallels.
Oh
Some
yeah, there's two characters that are very there is one sequence that's a definite nod to The Wire, and I guess that's what made me see it more.
That is a very high bar. You're going against like the best in TV ever.
And that's what I mean. It's like it's so respectable that they got. I'm much prefer the narrative in this to any of the narratives in their other games by far, and I'm not even at the end.
I think it would find a nice home on the FX network. Maybe not quite Oscar worthy, but FX network.
Yeah. Elizabetta seems to have a lot of friends.
That's because she's a dealer, Nico. Junkies like the people who supply them with drugs. You aren't getting involved in that world, are you?
I'm trying to avoid it, Michelle. Maybe I do a few errands for Elizabetta. Nothing serious, though.
They could do something better if they wanted. They could do something different that was like more highbrow, and I would love to see it.
Well, and it's like what we said earlier, amazing technical achievement.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not so amazing, maybe it's not an achievement at all on some of these other fronts.
You are in this incredibly realistically rendered city and world. But at the same time, I said it's like you're playing a cartoon version of real life. Like the other GTA games, they looked like cartoons, kind of. Everything was like really like just stylized in that way. And this time, you're like, I'm in a real place, but I'm listening to like ads, for America's Next Top Hooker. It's just like that, like kind of like South Park-ish cartoon vibe, like clashing with this real world is kind of like made you realize that maybe they could kind of skew more towards like a more realistic story, a more grounded story with a little bit more dialogue. That I think we're ready for that. I think like from a technical standpoint, they're ready to start moving in that direction.
I still think that some of the satire is a lot sharper and and because it's actually like the first GTA in a long time to be current. A lot of it is like really on point and topical stuff, like especially stuff with like the internet and social networking and even riffs on that and terrorism stuff, especially.
It's like a leap and bound above what the other GTAs are. It's like the simulation, once it gets so close, you can't. You're always going to get to the limit, and you always wish it was something more. But the narrative is something that I think that they've proven is achievable. Like they could do it. They could, be totally mature. If David Jaffe can put nipples in his games and have it be silly, then these guys could put it in a game and have it be real. So, now it sounds like all I want is porn in my games. It's not about
porn in games.
It's not about that. But okay, so The Wire season 1, right? They still have the gratuitous sex scenes like that remind you that you're watching on HBO. But later, once that show evolves past that, if they do show nudity, it's for a narrative reason, and if they do curse, it's not for to remind you that you're watching HBO. It's for a reason. It's because that's the way people talk.
Here I am in Roman's apartment, who is like the most womanizing or wannabe womanizing man that you could possibly imagine, and all of the posters that are on his wall are women in bikinis. No, I don't believe that at all. They would all be naked, they would be topless at least, because that's the kind of guy Roman is. And that would be contextual.
If they can show the character in the game who smokes weed all the time because he's the character that smokes weed all the time in the game, and we can do a close-up shot of someone shooting someone right in the eye, if that's allowed in the game, then everything's allowed. And I think that they're just too afraid by that, the surveys that John Davison or the polls that he's putting out, that American parents are more afraid of a man and a woman having sex in a game than they are of seeing a chopped off head in the game, and it's frustrating.
But at the same time, they're brave enough, or like at least self-referential enough to put in like the warm coffee achievement.
Right. Yeah.
When that came out, they didn't want to talk about it at all.
They didn't talk about it.
They don't want us to talk about it when we're talking about GTA 4, and then they put that little self-referential thing in their GTA 4. It's like,
how does it not come up?
Yeah, how does it not come up?
Yeah.
I am the joke man. The joke man.
The joke man.
I'm good.
You got a joke for us?
Of course. Camera.
You got a joke, you make me laugh, I'm gonna give you $1.
What does Santa Claus and Michael Jackson have in common?
I don't know, name it.
They both visit little boys and leave with empty sacks.
I think you do better than that. You're the joke man. You're the joke man.
What would you do with 365 used condoms? Melt them down, build a tire, and call it a damn good year.
Okay. All right.
Wait, am I good?
You're good.
You're good. You're good. I think that's worth $1. Do it. Do it.
Guys.
A piece. I don't have $1.
Your mama's so ugly she threw a boomerang and it never came back.
Your mama's so ugly the plastic surgeon sued her.
Your mama's so ugly they renamed Halloween Yo Mama Ween.
Your mama's so ugly she made a mime screen.
Ni mama hao show yang chong ya ke le.
Energy, focus, control. Amp energy, amp yourself.
Some of the missions were the coolest car chases that I've ever seen in a game, 100%, and then even rivaling some of the coolest car chases in movies. Like, I love that car chase scene, or a few of them in that movie, Ronin. It's like the only reason I like Ronin.
Yeah.
It's those cool car chases.
I don't know if you got to this one yet, but it's very obviously, well, it's an homage to French Connection and the great the chase scene underneath the L train.
Yeah.
And they know what makes a good car chase because they've seen all these movies. And they love these movies, so that's why.
We chased this guy all over town. We're on the freeway going forward, crossing through a park, going over a bridge through reverse traffic, crashing into their car, getting them to spin out, getting out of my car, and sure enough, they get away. I get back in my car, chase him down some more, slam him. He does like 3 spins around, knocks into another car, and gets jammed into this little spot, and is somehow able to get his car off over a little bump. And I'm like, you gotta be fucking shitting me. Getting into another car, driving, like it went on for maybe 10 minutes. When I finally got him out of his car and shot him in the face as he was running away, we were like, that is the awesomest thing ever. It was so
awesome.
amazing.
No, that's a fancy dream, you know what I mean? He sold 1 million fucking copies of his shit. Now you wanna see? Come on, bruh, you ain't that hard. Oh shit, I already pulled your card, I already pulled your receipt. I'm the one walking away, but you copy a grand theft, man, that's defeat. So you don't understand what it is when I'm standing here and man, my shit is obvious.
Fierce.
You don't wanna see shit here, man, cause I'm much better. Yeah, do that shit, man, and I ain't gonna leave you wet up, cause I ain't kinda do the step up that's gangster, cause we already learned about wanksters. And I ain't 50, but you ain't 50, so watch out, man, cause I come through nifty, this white boy 60.
Well, actually, I'm actually kind of curious how you guys ended up at the end of the line, even though you work for a video game website.
I don't know. A game website of ill repute, apparently.
Yeah, dude, I like talked to the dude at the front desk and he didn't even know what it was.
And he's like, "One up what?
The one up what? The what show? What now?"
And this white boy's dope. So watch out, why? Cause around here you ain't got hope and these cats is filming shit that I don't even know. Shit, I don't even need to have a flow. I don't even need to have you standing here. Cause obviously you've already been put clear out of the water. Call me Jaws, call me Spielberg, call me Raw, call me better than you, call me Nah. Your bitch is on my fucking phone and that's all. Your mom's is on my phone and that's sick. So watch out, yeah, cause I come up sick. But man,
said I'm the future 100%. I'm heaven sent, hot boxing in the president tent. I blow mice, dice, and herbs. Hot birds, a rich kid. Nigga, you couldn't spend what I earn. I'm only 20 years young with a veteran flow. My bitches never get love, they get dick to go. And I'm never in the club, I'm in the parking lot with 2 bottles and 3 models trying to lead a spot. Yeah, this rap shit is easy. Follow my step. Fuck you, pay me. And cut my check. Blue seats in the rust stain, let my nuts hang. I nut in your face, catch a case, erase your ass from the game like Mace, and leave your ass crying like P. Diddy. Looking for comfort and Earth got his titty. You're like 50, fuck 10 you. Come on, man, I'll dispose of your ass.
Alright, man.
Dispose of your ass. Nigga, I get
anyone to hurt
fast. I'll starve
him. Okay.
Come on, you look like
we
you're
want to get to
starving
shoving.
like
We want to get to shoving, bro. Don't shove me, bro. Don't shove me, bro. Don't touch me, bro.
Hold on, bro. You got me fucked up, bro.
Real talk, don't touch me.
What's up,
Don't touch me.
Hold on, I'm suck your dick, you feel me?
Don't touch me, bro.
Hold on, bro. I'll beat your ass out here.
Who do you think won?
I don't know. I think
I ran.
I think we won. I think we won. God, I hate GameStop.